So the industry has drastically changed over the last year. And I've made several videos in the past talking about secrets and trade secrets and things you need to know if you're getting into the crystal business. But today I kind of want to come up with a more modernized list for things that you should know if you're starting your crystal business, if you're getting into this industry, like must know information. So let's go. My number one thing, which has always been my number one thing and really hasn't changed over the years, is that when you first get into the industry, certain material is going to work for you really well. You're going to be able to sell, let's just say, ocean jasper really well. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to take that and you're going to pop it into your head, and going forward for the rest of your career in this industry, you're always going to associate ocean jasper with something lucrative. This is the wrong thinking. We need to be aware that this industry is extremely trendy. What's popular today is not popular tomorrow. And one of the things that holds true is that when we have trendy items, meaning items that have not stood the test of time, like amethyst or quartz or agate, things of that nature, lapis lazuli, things that have not stood the test of time but kind of just recently popped onto the market, had a huge rush, and then just fizzled out completely. One of the problems with that is it leaves you with material that you just can't sell. And so let's just say moldavite, and this happened to a lot of people with moldavite. Moldavite exploded in popularity. Everyone went out, tried to get as much moldavite as they can. Unfortunately, a lot of people wound up with fake moldavite because getting real moldavite is actually not as easy as everyone might think it is, and the fake moldavite looks extremely real nowadays. They do a bang-up job with it. Now we have people sitting on moldavite that they can't sell because a trend came, everyone got really excited, they bought a small amount, you sold that small amount very quickly, and then you rushed off to buy a much larger amount, but by the time you got your hands on the larger amount of material, the trend had already fizzled down, and now you're stuck with that material that cost you a lot of money and that you can't resell. So that's number one. Number two, make sure when you're going into business, and this applies to any business across the board, you need to have monetary budgets for things. Most people don't assume a budget. For example, a client comes in here, they're a new client, they're starting to open a crystal business, and one of the first questions out of my mouth will be, what is your budget? Usually you don't get an answer to that question, or it even makes people feel uncomfortable to some degree because, hey, you know, it's weird that the sales rep or the owner of the company is asking me what my budget is. On my side of the fence, I'm not trying to ask you your budget because I want to know how much money I can make off of you. I'm asking you your budget to find out where you are and have you gauged yourself properly. And if you're a client of mine, you know this. There's times where I've actually talked many people off the ledge of blowing their budgets on material when they were not yet ready for that material. So believe it or not, there's been many instances where I actually told a person not to buy material. The reason because if you don't have an established platform to start selling material, it doesn't make sense for you to take your whole budget and blow it on material when you don't have a platform to sell it on. Now, if you go out and you book yourself a market or a fair or a convention or something like that, and you actually set up a booth or a table somewhere and you're going to sell, at least now you have a platform to sell. If you're going to go to Etsy and start selling on Etsy, which I don't recommend, but you're building a website, you're starting to sell live sales, whatever it is, you need to know what is your platform for selling and where you're going to focus your attention. The problem that people run into is that you might not be buying properly for that platform. And that's where someone like me comes in. You come into the warehouse, we talk about it, and I help you figure out what's the best strategy for you and your new business. Getting somebody like me on your side is going to be advantageous in that degree because I will do my best to lead you in the right direction. With that being said, we need to make sure that your plan and your strategy around using your budget doesn't just be like, oh, I saved $5,000 for starting my business, and now I'm going to just take that $5,000 and I'm just going to buy rocks with it. No, because now you've left yourself. What about all of the other expenses that you're going to incur as a new business owner? You have to really make yourself a ledger and keep track of everything. You need to say, okay, for marketing, I should be spending 20% of my budget on marketing. That's $1,000 right there. Okay, I need actual help and assistance. I need to buy shelving units. I need to buy labels. I need to buy this or whatever it may be that you need in order to help you start your business. You need to put that in a ledger and figure out what your expenses are. Whatever's left over, now you can buy material with that. But again, making sure we buy the right material for the right platform is extremely important. Social media is extremely important now. Everything is running through social media. If you're a business owner and you don't have social media recognition, it's going to be really difficult for you to do anything, especially as a new person getting into business or starting a business. Social media has become the marketing tool of our age. And so you need to make sure that you're really putting your time, effort, and energy into building your social media. Now, what does that mean? You can consult with people, you can spend thousands of dollars a month getting people to help you make content X, Y, and Z. You do not need to spend a dollar, trust me. The people who are telling you that you need to spend money to build your social media are people who just want to get your money and not actually really help you. I'm sorry if you're on the other side of that. But the point is that what people are looking for on social media is something authentic and something genuine. You need to tell the world your story. You need to put yourself in front of the camera. You need to be vulnerable. You need to expose yourself, and you need to take risk. If you are not in the headspace for that and you're not willing to engage your social media in that degree, I highly implore you to think about another route. Because if you're not willing to put yourself out there in the world and be the face of your business, then people don't have a face to associate their product with. And that is extremely important. I talk to a lot of people who are in business, but they don't have social media. And I say, you need social media. Yeah, but I don't want to be in front of the camera. It makes me feel weird. It makes me feel shy. Here's what you do. Sit down. Put your phone in front of you, reverse it so you can see yourself, and just start talking to the phone. Talk to yourself. Envision yourself as the audience, as if you were talking to a friend giving advice. And do that every single day until you get to a place where you're comfortable enough in front of a camera, where when you're talking in front of a camera, you don't feel like you're in a situation where you're talking in front of a camera. This is so, so important. And again, I implore you to really look at that and say, oh, I don't need social media. Yes, you do. Diversification of your material is extremely important. One of the things that we see people doing is they go in a baseline direction of items that they know, items that they're familiar with. But once your clientele has already bought all of the standardized items, you now have nothing else to sell to them because you've already sold them the standardized items. What you need to do is figure out a way to diversify your material. You need to make sure you have options. The more options you have, the better. This leads us back to budget. You need to make sure you're budgeting yourself properly. How does this work? Let's just say you have a $1,000 budget to start your business and you're going to buy material. A lot of people come with that $1,000 and they buy their 5 most popular items, maybe in different forms, right? Let's just take amethyst. You buy points, clusters, towers, spheres, pyramids. There's so many different variations of a material, and most people, because they know amethyst, they're going to buy like all different types of amethyst. Now, while this is a good thing for a larger business doing bigger sales, it's not good for the first-time business owner. You need to make sure you're diversifying your material. And again, having someone like me who's willing to talk you through it and help you figure it out is going to be extremely valuable. So whoever you're sourcing from, if it's me, you're already getting that service, but whoever you're sourcing from, hopefully they have the means to actually direct you and guide you in a direction of success, because that's actually my job. My job as the owner of a wholesale distribution manufacturing company is to take my client and build them up. Not just see them and be like, oh, there's some money in it for me, which is unfortunately the kind of the narrative in this industry and most industry is just money, 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 gimme, gimme, gimme. But that's not building and cultivating a person. That's not how you get a person to become an actual steady, good client. If you don't invest yourself as a business owner into your clientele and help them grow, then you don't grow. And this is something that's really hard for most people to understand, because I've been in the business a long time. There's been so many people I took under my wing and helped them and built them up, and when they finally got to a place where they were actually steadily successful, I never heard from them again or never saw them again, because they went in the direction of whatever they could find that was the cheapest thing available. What's amazing about me and this company, and again, this is just my perspective, you can think differently, is that everything I'm doing is done with love, it's done with care, it's done with intention. I am making sure that all of my material is fair trade, that there was no pain and suffering involved in the extraction of the material down to the manufacturing, that everyone who's working on my material and the things that I have here are happy, they're taken care of, and that everything is good on the back end, thus giving us high vibration material. Now, while I'm not going to get into the energy properties of things, I am going to get into the fact that every single thing in the world, whether it's your table, your chair, your crystal, your plant, your animal, everything has a vibration. Everything contains an energy vibration. And if that energy vibration is clean and it's high, you can get that feeling from it. And that's why I feel that I've held on to my clientele for so long, especially the ones who know what they're doing. You know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And again, I implore you, take the material here. Yeah, okay, so my item costs 50 cents more than the item you bought from China or from here or there, wherever it is. Sure, I can't compete with Chinese manufacturing costs. I can't, unless I want to, which you don't want that for me and I don't want that for me. And so we go in this direction of making sure that everything has good, clean vibration. And you wanna make sure that your material has that good, clean vibration. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying that everyone is doing bad things. I'm not saying that. You need to have a relationship with the people who are supplying you your material. If you come to a place where you recognize, you know what, this person doesn't really care about me, that business doesn't really care about me, you're in the wrong relationship, regardless of what it costs you. Because here's the thing, if you spend $500 here, and you take that $500 and you turn it into $1,200 quickly, what's better, that or spending $300 on the same material and not even be able to make back $600 on it? This is the kind of things we need to think about, not just, oh, this is 5 cents cheaper, this is 50 cents. If you think like this, you're not thinking strategically. Not everything boils down to cost and price. And again, diversifying your material is so important. That's why I have provided this platform with material from all over the world. If it's possible to get the material ethically sourced, it's here in this warehouse, under this roof. And so I've done that in the direction of making sure that my clients, the people who want to stick with me and do business with me, have resources to all different types of material. And this is really, really important. Make sure you get in bed with the right people. Now, to go just a little bit further into this, a lot of people are getting messages on Instagram or TikTok or emails or things like that. Hello, my friend, I'm a seller from this country. Do you buy? Here's a bunch of pictures. If you base your business off business relationships like that, if you're going in that direction and trusting those kinds of people and doing business with those kinds of people, the probability of good business happening there is low. I'm not going to give a ratio on that, but it's low. The reason is that a lot of people like to alter their photography and send you images of things that have been enhanced, photographically speaking. Or they'll show you material and then they'll send you completely different material. Oh, I didn't mean you were getting this material. I just meant you were getting a material in this degree. And this is happening all the time. Or they show you images that are other people's images of a higher quality product, and then their product is not as high quality, and then you wind up getting that. So be very, very careful with this narrative. I always recommend and suggest to people, if you're dealing with people overseas, especially people you don't know that are not tried and proven, that you're just like, oh, it's a cheap price, you get what you pay for. Always cheap stuff, red flag. Please be aware of that. I've been manufacturing for 10 years. I know what things cost. I know how much it costs to make something. I know how much it costs to do something. And I understand that some of the prices that I see, some of these wholesalers all over the world, I know that the only way to get to those prices is if there's really bad stuff happening behind the material. So again, I'm not saying that across the board. I'm not attacking anybody. I'm not coming after anybody. I'm just saying, please make sure if you're the type of person that really cares about your business and what is going into your business and you don't want to support negativity behind your product, you really need to do a lot more legwork than just like, oh, this guy has this material. It's really cheap. Yeah, sure, I'll try it. if that's your business, please don't say that you're doing things the right way. Please don't put yourself on a pedestal where you're saying, oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing the right thing, I'm professional. Please don't do that, because it's not true. Make sure that whatever you do has care behind it. If you're in this industry or any industry and you don't love what you're doing, if there's not love behind what you're doing, then you're in the wrong position. You're in the wrong industry. You need to only do things in life that make you happy and that you love. That's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give. Let's go one more. I want to talk about smart buying. I've talked about this in other videos, but I want to talk about it one more time. Smart buying happens where you already have established yourself to some degree and you know what your needs are based on a fiscal year. Now, a fiscal year is going to be broken down into quarters. First, second, third, fourth quarter. Basically every 3 months, right? So January through March is your first quarter. You should already know what your quarters look like, meaning that I know that after Christmas, my first quarter comes up and I'm actually going to do well as a wholesaler because people now need to restock inventory. I know that I need to have a larger amount of inventory to satisfy the people who now need to restock after the holiday rush. Your second quarter rolls around, and now this is where you're getting into your avid buying situation. People are just steadily buying there. It's not like it's up, it's not down. It should just be somewhat stable. Your third quarter is really the one that's kind of difficult because that's where the summer months hit. The kids are coming out of school, the kids are going back to school, people are going on vacation, and they're not really focused on consumer mentality. They're focused on vacation, kids, family, and this is a large percentage of the consumer. So your summer months should be the slowest months. If that's not the case, that's great. It doesn't mean it's the same for everybody across the board. I'm just giving standard baseline. But the summer months are going to be a little bit tricky leading into the fall, especially because that's when most kids are going back to school. Now, your holiday months typically are looked at as the biggest months. But if you've been in business long enough, you know that that's not necessarily true. The only time you really get a holiday rush or a holiday wave is pretty much from December 10th to the 25th. That's really your pocket. October and November, no one's really buying for the holidays yet. Most people do their holiday shopping closer to the holidays. So literally the week before Christmas is going to be insane if you're on the retail side of it. For me, it's crickets because my retail clients, the people who are reselling, are doing the bulk of their purchase in November. So my third quarter is going to look really great, but because of November, and that's when everyone's holiday buying for their retail shops. But for me, my December is crickets because everyone's already done their buying. Sure, you got people coming in, they sold out of this and they need to restock that and all of these other things. But remember, breaking your year down into quarters is really going to help you gauge what kind of product you need. Now, most of the time what I'm seeing, especially from new to moderately new business owners, is that they only buy one of this, one of that, two of this, three of that. And that's okay because you might be on a very, very tight budget. But if you're not on a very, very tight budget, I implore you to do something that's called smart buying. For example, and I can only speak for myself, I can't speak for other dealers, but let's just say we take these bowls right here, these heart bowls. And you come in and you want to buy one bowl. And let's just say that one bowl costs you $12. But you say, hey, if I take 10 bowls, will there be a difference in price? And I say, yeah, take 10 bowls, it'll be $10. Hey, what if I just take all the bowls that you have? And I say, you know what, if you're going to take all the bowls that I have, maybe I give it to you for $8. I'm just making these numbers up, by the way. So you went from 12 to 8 by taking all the material. Now you might say, well, you know what, I really don't need that much material right now. But are you able to sell all of that material throughout the year? So you don't have to buy this product for the rest of the year. You already have enough that lasts you one fiscal year. If that's the case, you just saved yourself a huge chunk on 33% on the back end. Instead of 12, you went to 8. That's 33%. You can boost your profit margin on that product. This is smart buying. Now, if you've been in business long enough, you know that margins like that, 33%, that's huge. For most of us, 10% is pretty good. If I can gain a 10% margin on something, that's good. 33% is excellent. And that's why I say, you don't need to then change the product price on your end. You just got it for a better price on our end. And so again, think about smart buying. Think about how do you get the best prices, and the way that you actually get the best prices is by buying bulk. Again, you can come in here into my warehouse and you can pick this one item, you can pick this one item, you can pick this one item. I'm not holding anybody to any standard as you need to buy all of this. If it's on the table, you can take one item, but you're gonna pay the premium price for that because it's called cherry picking. If you're gonna cherry pick, you're gonna pay premium pricing. Oh, I know what my clients like. I know my customer. I know. I'm sorry, you don't. Because even me, after 15 years in this business, I still don't know my client the way that people say that they know theirs. And the reason is because we're dealing with trends. We're dealing with an ever-evolving situation. Every business is evolving and moving. You say, oh, I know my, okay, so you know the 5 customers that you currently have. What happens when you have a new 10 customers? And did you ever think that the reason you only have those set of customers is because you're not diversifying? And that if you did diversify, you wouldn't be saying to me, oh, my customers only like this. If you know what your customers like, it means that you don't have enough customers. I hope that makes sense. And so what we want to do is, again, going back to that idea of diversification. If you have the material, the people will come. One of the things I've always said in this industry is that eventually everything sells. And so be aware of those concepts. I hope that they help you, whether you're my client or not. I wish you the best and I wish success for you, and see you next time.